In a previous video, I did an overview of my Resound Enzo Squared hearing aids, and in that video I said that I was going to do a overview of the MultiMic, which is my favorite hearing aid accessory, and that's what this video is going to be about. If you want to see that original video, I will include a link for it in the notes for the video below. At the end of this video, I'm actually going to show some real-world use of this mic. So I recently went on a trip to Disney World and used this a whole lot, basically all day, every day for 7 days. And so I've got, if you're more interested in that live use in this boring beginning overview, I'll put the time up here on the screen that you can jump to actually see that live use video. So I'm going to do a brief overview of the MultiMic. And this actually does multiple things. So obviously it's a remote microphone, and it streams directly to the Resound Enzo hearing aids. This also works on their Lynx hearing aids. And a lot of the information I give on this will also apply to the Cochlear, I believe it's the Mini Mic 2 Plus. Got that up here, let me verify it. Yeah, the Cochlear Mini Microphone 2 Plus is actually the same unit, so a lot of this should apply to that as well. So given the name MultiMic, it obviously does more things than just a remote microphone. And what this will do is, it is a remote microphone. And if you're wear it vertically like this, clipped to someone's shirt or on a lanyard, it goes into a directional microphone mode, cuts out a lot of the background noise and picks up whoever's talking above it. If you lay it down on a table, it'll actually realize it's laying horizontally, and it'll go into an omnidirectional mode and pick up sound from all around it. So this is great for like meetings or like putting it at the end of the table in a restaurant. In fact, a lot of times in meetings, if I'm in a larger room, I'll put this at one end of the table and then I'll sit at the other end of the table. And what you can do with this too, regardless of what mode it's in really, is you can totally control it from the Resound phone app. So here's that application, and I can turn on this mic from the application. And then I can go in here and I can actually adjust the mix of the volume coming from the microphone or the volume coming from my hearing aids and create the perfect mix for the environment so that I can hear whatever's close to me and I can hear whatever's coming over the mic, and neither one's overpowering. Or if you want to, in a case where you go out of range of the mic or you just don't want it on anymore, you can obviously switch back easily to just being on hearing aids. So that functionality, being able to control it quickly through the phone, is really nice. I used that a lot while I was at Disney. So in addition to the mic functionality, we'll cover why it's called a MultiMic. So besides the mic functionality, it does also have a couple jacks here on the bottom. It's got a standard 3.5mm headphone jack and a DAI connection. So with the 3.5mm headphone jack, you can plug in a headphone cable to it, and it automatically switches that mode. And then you can plug this into a TV, a CD player, whatever you want to plug it into, and it'll stream the sound from whatever device this is plugged into directly to your hearing aids. The DAI connector is there so you can connect it with a standard FM system. So like here I've got a Phonak Roger receiver, and that'll plug in to that connector. It's kind of hard to do here on the video. Okay, so that'll plug into that connector. And now it'll receive from the FM system and use this to retransmit it to the hearing aids. So that's a real nice feature if you need compatibility with an FM system and don't want to have boots on your hearing aids. Another thing that this has built into it is actually a telecoil. And you got a button here on the back that you can select functionality. So if you're using like an FM system and you want to switch back to the microphone mode, you can do that. You want to switch to T-coil, so like if you're in a looped room, this will pick up the signal from the telecoil and transmit it to your hearing aids in case your hearing aids don't have a telecoil built into them, which it's an option now. So that is a real brief coverage of the functionality of this. When I was using this at Disney and I've used it in meetings, I've gotten really good range out of this. So like I said, it transmits directly to my hearing aids, no neck or streamer needed. And if I'm got clear line of sight to it, or like if someone's walking behind me and there's really not too many people blocking them or not too many walls blocking, I'll get 60 to 80 feet out of this thing. If you're in a crowd, I still get like 40 to 50 feet out of this. Now if the person's in front of you and wearing this and their body's blocking the signal from getting to you, the range does cut down to 15 to 20 feet, but that's still pretty respectable range and works really well. So I'm going to go ahead and get to the real world use of this and show you what it's like to actually use it and how it helps. Okay, I'm going to fill a few seconds here with random pictures of my kids because it's my video and I can. While I say that all of these videos will probably have kind of bad sound in them on purpose, I just recorded them using the internal microphones of whatever device I was using to take the video. And that way you can kind of get an idea of how noisy the environment is. I also figured most of the people who would be watching this will be using closed captioning anyway, so the bad audio won't matter too much. Alright, we're on vacation heading to Disney World, and usually on a trip like this, I wouldn't be able to hear a thing. I wouldn't be able to hear my wife talking, who's videotaping right now, because of the noise from the TV and the kids back there. So between all the road noise and the wind noise and the TV and everything going on, usually on a trip like this, I wouldn't be able to talk to my wife at all. But this time, let's steal this camera from her. She's got my micro mic on, which I can adjust the controls. Show this for me here. So I can adjust the controls, the volume for the mic, the volume mixed with my hearing aids. And since she's wearing the mic, I can actually hear everything that she says perfectly, which on past road trips, we wouldn't have been able to talk at all, right?
So true.
So true. All right, I just wanted to add on to that last video. My wife actually wore that mic all day yesterday and on the car drive, and it lasted a little bit over 10 hours. And then I had a second one, so we just switched them out. But 10-hour battery life from the little remote mic, that's pretty good and good for most trips. So now my wife is in the back of the van with the kids, and I can still hear her perfect. So here we are on the Disney bus, and normally I don't hear a thing on these, just because the bus is noisy and they're usually crowded and filled with people. And my wife is over there talking to the kids, and since she's got my multi-mic on, I can actually hear her fine. Alright, here we are at Disney, in front of the castle, or by the castle, and got my wife and kids walking back there. And usually in crowds like this with all this noise, I wouldn't hear them at all. But since my wife has my multi-mic on, I can actually hear what she's saying to the kids back there and know what's going on. And hear if we get too far ahead with the stroller and stuff. I'll know if she's trying to get my attention. And one added benefit that I didn't really think of was if she starts to get too far behind, like 40 or more feet, the multi-mic will actually lose connection. So I know that she's actually fallen too far back. So that's kind of actually a nice added surprise. So far the multi-mics work great here. I'm in a crazy busy noisy line, but again, I can still actually hear what my wife is saying to the kids and what's going on thanks to the multi-mic. This is another situation where before I wouldn't have heard a thing and really not known what was going on or being said. Okay, now we're in a noisy restaurant, and my wife's at the end of the table. Dad's across from me. And once again, I can actually hear her because of the mic. And normally in a restaurant, I wouldn't be able to hear her at all.
Find something that starts with E.
I know if the crowd will stay out of the way long enough, I want to give you an idea of range on these things. So my wife is way over there with the mic on, and I can still hear her fine. All right, we are fortunately the last full day of our vacation, and I just wanted to go over how well the multi-mic has worked. So before, when we've been, this is Disney, we're at Epcot right now, and before when we've been here, any really crowded theme park or anything like that, if we're in a crowd, like kind of walking somewhere and separated from each other, I wouldn't be able to hear. If we're in a noisy line, I wouldn't be able to hear. If we're in a noisy restaurant, I wouldn't be able to hear. And that's pretty much most of the time here. But since my wife's been wearing the multi-mic, I felt a lot more involved because I've been able to hear even if she's walking behind me, even when we're in a really noisy line, even when we're in a restaurant, the multi-mic has a pretty good range on it. So even if she is 20 feet behind me when we were walking somewhere and I had some of the kids in the stroller and she was falling back a little bit with the other kids, she could still get my attention and talk to me. And in the lines we could still communicate. It's been really, really nice on the trip. On the buses, that I could never hear her on the buses, and now I could still hear her if she needed help with one of the kids or just wanted to tell me something. This would send all the audio from her right into my hearing aids. I didn't have to wear a streamer or anything. The range on it was really good. I could pick up my phone and I could actually make quick adjustments on it from the app. So I could I could adjust the level that came from my hearing aids and the level that came from the mic so that it could be heard really well. And I think it just worked out really great. And I know me not being able to hear my wife affected her on the trips too, so I wanted her to say what she thought of it.
He's been way more involved, been able to, you know, if it's a stressful situation, he knows what's going on, or if we're having a good time and joking, he can join in the conversation. It's made me feel like you're a lot more involved.
Yeah, it made me feel a lot more included and involved in the trip too. So overall, I really love the multi-mic and the way it works. Really easy to use, really easy to wear, good range, good clarity on the sound, and it's just been really great for this trip.